TRX, we start with 1 hour chart. Okay, first of all, we refer to our analysis. In my last video, if you refer to my last video, when the price was here, we mentioned that one of the option was, we mentioned that we want to put this one in relative to this as a correction for one more drop. Okay, that's why we mentioned we're looking for this. Then from there, if the price give us one more drop with the breakout of this low, we can look for reversal. Okay, this is exactly what we get. The first things we were expecting to get this down move, because we mentioned we can look for divergence, and even if we put this one relative to this, we can see we have a divergence, and as well based on MACD. That's why we mentioned the first option. If we mentioned we are more interested to look for this for one more drop to finish this move, then from there we look for reversal. Okay, and the another option we mentioned that if the price continue from here without giving us this down move, the only way, whether we wait for the breakout of this, which is 0.054, then any correction above the top we look for trade or have entry above this. Okay, but whenever we get this down move, then having this option is what not valid anymore. Okay, now, and as we can see, after the price drop, we get the reversal with the divergence, and the only way was to trade. When we get this move, the only way was to get this correction, because we mentioned we're looking for the sharp move and flag. Based on 15 minutes, it will be more clear. All right, if we wanted to trade this is where we could trade. Rather than that, there was no other opportunity to look for buy. Okay, anyway, this is what we were expecting and what we get, and now we want to see whether this one can break the top or not. As you can see, almost tag and reverse. Now we're looking for this correction. And if we move to daily chart, all right, based on daily chart, we have nothing. The way it's moving is really corrective. I mean, the way it's showing, and in this case we move to forward chart. Even based on forward chart, when the price was here, we were putting this one in relative to this, because we mentioned we can look for this correction for continuation. Okay, and even if in that, when the price was within this, we mentioned we don't need to rely on this. The trend line is just indicative. That's why we mentioned even the price can break and drop some more, because as long as the price haven't broke this low, still we can look for reversal. Because we mentioned if the price break this low and continue, then the way we want to look for chart is can be different. And as you can see, the price couldn't tag. I mean, it came near, but it couldn't tag or break. Okay, now we get the what we were expecting, but what we want the price to break this top and continue. From what we can see here, almost near to the top, but the way it's moving is really corrective. Okay, and now we want to see whether this one can be a correction to break and continue, or still we can expect for one more drop. That means this one turned to a really deeper correction before we get the next move. Okay, mostly we are interested for the break of the top from what we have right now and continuation, but what we have see here is like it's correcting. Okay, now we want to see how we can trade it. If we move to 1 hour chart, based on 1 hour chart, we don't have any trade setup. Okay, unless this one turn to a deeper correction before we look for trade setup, because what we have right now, I mean, we cannot really get good trade setup from what we have unless this one give a turn to a deeper correction. Then from there we see whether we can get a trade setup or not. And how about if I move to 15 minute? All right, what we can see, if this one can give us one more drop, that, as I say, become deeper correction, then from there any buy setup we take it, we can look for, or we can have entry above this. Okay, and how about if the price, I mean, if we didn't get the deeper correction and this is the only one, then the only way is to have entry above the stop. Maybe we can put it a bit higher. We put it around 5, 4. Okay, this one is very high. Maybe put it around 2. Okay, but what we want, if there is a continuation from here, we want the price tag, break, and continue. But we should know that easily price can tag and reverse. Okay, that's why having entry above the top can be really risky unless this one turns to a deeper correction. Okay, anyway, we don't have any trade setup right now. The only option is to have entry above the top, which is very risky. That's why I will remove it. In this case, it's better we wait and get the confirmation for here for breakout of the stop, because what we want, if we move to forward chart, we want the price to break the stop and continue. And we should know that if this one turns to a deeper correction before we get the next move. That's why if we want to trade here, we need to get confirmation. Rather than that, we cannot jump into the trade. Okay, even we can see easily based on indicators, we can get them divergence. All right. Anyway, we don't have any trade setup in this case. We just follow the chart. If I see any update, then I will share. Thanks.